Okay, so we're back. So I'd like just to show you what we're aiming for. So we're going to have some gear icon, a score, a toggle switch to hide the pinyin, right? So this English description of the Chinese letters, and a bunch of buttons. Okay, so we know what we have to do. Now let's just get into it. So I'm going to fold all of this code and let's embed this V stack in a Z stack. Maybe we'll want a background color, so we'll see that a little bit later. Now, I pretty much want to remove everything within the V stack. So text to do, and I want to start with the gear shape icon. The gear icon view. So let's create a new view. So make sure you're in the view folder. I'm going to call this SwiftUI view gear icon view. So gear icon view. And let's create. Okay, great. So this is just going to be on top of the view. And within this struct, we're going to need a binding. For now, let's define a state variable, but it will actually be a binding coming from the parent. So show settings view will be a Boolean, and let's set it to true. And now let's embed this text in an H stack. And let's put a spacer directly after the text, like pushed it to the left. And let's embed this H stack within a V stack. And right below the H stack, let's put a spacer. So that pushed the hello world exactly to the position that we want our gear icon to appear. And we can add some padding, maybe to the text, maybe to the entire view. And it's worth comparing the two. So that's padding just to the text versus padding to the VStack. Yeah, I think it's a similar effect. I think I'll go with padding to the text. Okay, great. And let's go down to the preview. And I want, just for the sake of the preview, let's embed this in a Z stack. And let's just create some background colors, say a blue color. So color blue with opacity, say 0.3, and ignore safe area. This is not really used in the app, but just so we can see what's going on. Okay, great. And now I want to replace the text with a button. So let's replace this text. We can leave the padding there. So button. And let's have an action and a label. So action and label. And the label will be an image. So system name, gear shape. So we see the gear shape. And let's apply an image scale to .large. And let's add a foreground style. Foreground style, not color. Color has been deprecated. .black. Okay, that looks good. I think I prefer the padding inside of here. It's not really crucial. And what about the action? So show settings .toggle. And we have our view. It'll toggle the show settings, but you see we want show settings to come from the parent. So actually we should copy this to the main view and add this new state variable, but actually let's set show settings to false. Now currently show settings won't do anything either way. And now we need to go back to gear icon view and convert the state variable that we had into a binding. Sometimes it's initially convenient to start with a state variable and then convert it to a binding. When I convert it to a binding, I want to remove this value because the parent's going to provide it and replace the state with a binding. And now if we go back to the main view and add the gear icon, then we can pass as a parameter the binding. So we'll do that right here. Gear icon view, show settings, $, show settings, view. And for now, let's put a spacer over here. I'm just going to erase this to-do text. So we have something initial going on, and let's just make sure if there's, oh, of course, the preview of show settings view, I forgot to update that, of course. So we can press Control Option Command F. This is a binding, so we have dot constant, and let's set that to say true. And now let's go back to our main view and everything should compile it correctly. Okay, we can press on this button, nothing really happens. If we want to see some kind of effect, just to understand what's going on, then we could do something like text, and it'll depend on the show settings view. So if show settings view is true, then settings, appearing. Otherwise, settings is hidden. Okay, so let's click. Okay, settings appearing, settings hidden. And I'd like the change to be animated. So let's go back to the gear icon view. And this show settings over here, let's put it within a with animation. And we might change our mind that we don't want an animation. So it's that simple. If we go back to our main view, click on the gear icon, settings is hidden, settings appearing. Okay, but we don't really want that code. Oh, and I do have a mistake. I just didn't make sense why the text is not in the center. So I want the gear icon on top of the V stack. See, I could sense something was off. So it should be right here. So this is literally on the Z stack. So we have this, followed by our V stack, which will be most of the code. And now the code makes more sense. Okay, awesome. So that was the gear icon view, a very simple view. And we'll gradually work through the rest of the views. So we have to be a little bit patient. We need the score, the height opinion. We need some logic here. So we still have some work cut out for us, and also to see what happens when we win the game, when the game's over. Okay, great. So have an amazing day and see you next time.